How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. Welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. We're in chapter 6, but we're in the story. We just got the end of chapter 3, which is kind of crazy because in hindsight, I was thinking about it. We've learned a lot about Rena's backstory in just 3 chapters. And these things normally have, 13 chapters in them? Like something along those lines. So there's a lot more to explore still, which is very interesting. But now we've got Rena's backstory about kind of some of the circumstances around her, and which is really good. It gives some good context to her way of thinking. And we also see this self-depreciating way that she sees herself. Like, if I act like the idiot who's always happy, then maybe I can actually be happy. Which is very sad, but also very realistic thing. We also talked about the divorce, and some of you voiced similar opinions to me, how whether you've been through a divorce or just seen people gone through it, it's a lot more damaging psychologically than I think a lot of people understand. It is very disruptive and very kind of world-shaking for a child. And it's not necessarily in the way that oh yeah, the child is being abused. It's no, they go from a very loving home to a shattered loving home, and that process is very traumatic. And it was interesting to hear so many of you kind of relating to that. And, I myself have very much had gone through that. Had very loving parents, which were way better than Rena's were, but it was still a very traumatic experience for me. And I think that's very valid. But I don't necessarily see the connection between that and Oyashiro, because the spirit apparently manifested to Rena while she was out. We know that she expressed that with by violently beating a couple people at her school. People who apparently had thought that they were friends with her or something, which I'm wondering if we're going to learn that story in detail, because we don't know a ton about it other than the fact that it happened. And yet she sees that time period where she felt like she was being talked to about returning to Hinamizawa. Apparently that was the happiest she'd been in a long time. So what was it that made that process so happy for her? And then why, if she feels like she's safe from the curse, does she get so scared about being the focus of the curse later? Those are the 2 questions I really want to know more about. And a lot of that's going to come through. I think we need to see more of her reflection, more of her, her history. And we need to see how she kind of views the Watanagashi festival as it comes up, and how that thought process works for her. Again, I feel like this is one of the better revelations we're getting, because Rena's been the biggest enigma for me ever since chapter 1. And it's not like we got much better looks at her besides just seeing how cunning she actually is, and how deep her observation skills go. But we don't know anything at all. So this has been a very informative. I mean, all of it is, if you think about it. Every chapter is, but it's every time I get into one of these chapters, I just get pulled right in. I can't help myself but really focus on what's going on. So, enough about that. Let's jump right in, shall we? Chapter 4, here we come.
Oh, 来た来た。おはよう、レナ。
So now we know the veneer. The mask, I talked about how she always had a mask in chapter 1. The mask was always there. And in hindsight, that makes sense, but it's a much bigger mask than I thought. I almost think she's got 2 masks on. There's the mask she puts on because of who she wants to be seen as, and then there's the mask that she wears to hide from herself.
普段を棚にあげるわけじゃないが、俺が朝の待ち合わせでレナに勝つなんて珍しいこともあるもんだぜ。
レナ、今朝はちょっとお寝坊した。夕べ寝つかれなくってね。
Yeah, I wonder why. It's because you were in the junkyard all night.
レナもか実は俺もなんだよ。昨日の大騒ぎの余韻がずーっと残っててさ。布団に入っててもなかなか眠くならなくて、夜が長く感じたぜ。
Yesterday, I had a lot of fun with my friends and went home still riding on that high. Oh, I just realized we're back in Keiichi's shoes. I was too full to eat dinner. I kept talking with my parents about the great time I had over the past few days. I was so pumped that I couldn't go to sleep. Kind of sounds like I'm a little kid. But given that Rena seemed to be the same way, I felt a bit better about it. No, I felt better isn't the right way of phrasing it. I should say I'm glad to know that we shared the same feeling. Rena was treasure hunting after I left. I'm sure she found many adorable things and went home. and talking with her parents about how great the day was. It's interesting.
みーちゃんだ。
Because Keiichi, he always talked about her having parents. He always talked about it, but he never went over there. He was never allowed over there. Now we notice she has a parent. Her mom's not there. Though it sounds like her dad might be in a relationship now with the other chick, whatever her name is. But yeah, she keeps that to herself very strictly. I wonder how much the others know, like Mion. Does Mion or Shion, I guess depends on who's here when. But I wonder what they know about Rena. So it'd be Mion who would know about Rena, because Shion knew almost nothing about her.
おお、ミオンが先に待ってるなんて、今日は雪が降るかもな。
I don't know if that works though. Pigs falling from the sky, that would imply that they were kind of flying, but now they're not. Pigs flying is supposed to be the saying.
人が珍しく先に待ってりゃ、そういうこと言うわけ？
それを言ったら、私より先に待ってたケイチくんも珍しいよ。雪が降るかもね。
Mm-hmm.
人のこと言えないね。
It's going to be another happy day today. I had fun the day before yesterday. I had fun yesterday. So I'm going to have fun today for sure. He even thinks kind of like Rena does. So Keiichi genuinely thinks in the way Rena tries to think. I'm happy. Mion's happy too. Of course, Rena and my other friends are equally happy. I'm not afraid to say it. And I wish these happy days would last forever.
なあミオン、今日は何をして遊ぼうな。
今日の部活？何がいいだろうね。レナは提案ある？
そうだね。昨日、おとといと体を使うゲームが続いたから、今日はあまり体に激しくないゲームがいいな。
True, we gotta shake it up a bit.
そうだな。レナの言うのも一理あるぜ。部活は肉体勝負だけが全てじゃねえだろ。
No, we gotta play the mental games.
もちろん。心、技、体。すべての要素において完璧であってこそ部活メンバーだからね。じゃあ今日は何かテーブルゲームで遊ぶことにしよう。
Yes! Everybody was early this morning. We could enjoy our walk to school for once. After a while, we started talking about the upcoming festival. They told me that the festival is called Watanagashi, and that it's the biggest event of the year in Hinamizawa.
そうだそうだ。昨日、沖宮の家に親類が集まって、いろいろと話が出たんだけどさ、ケイちゃんの話題が出たんだよ。
Really?
俺？園崎家の重鎮が集まって、一体何の相談だよ。
いやさ、昨日のエンジェルモートでのケイちゃんの活躍を見てた店長の吉郎おじさんがさ、
That makes sense.
ケイちゃんのことを相当気に入っちゃったみたいでさ。それで、いろいろと話を聞いてみたら、他の親類も意外にケイちゃんのことを知ってる人が多いんだよね。
If I were Keiichi, I'd be worried. I'd be like, why do so many people know who I am already?
Hinamizawaの名物男みたいな言われようだったよ。
For what?
名物男ってのは、また微妙な称号だな。その称号の9割方は、ミオンの罰ゲームに関係があるような気がするぞ。
That's true.
それだけじゃないけどさ。
She doesn't even deny it. She's like, oh, it's not just that.
ノリもいいし、元気があって無鉄砲なところも、今時の若い子にしては関心と、みんなベタ褒めだったよ。
In this era. I felt a bit embarrassed to know the people I haven't even met were speaking well of me.
でね、今後の渡流しのお祭りで、何かで活躍してくれないかなって話が出てね。
Like what? Just something memorable? That's doable. Interesting though. I wonder if these types of conversations, because we haven't really heard this portion of chat between them. I wonder if this is what gets Rena worried, is that she assumed that if there was going to be a target this year, it would likely be Keiichi because he's newer or recently moved in, kind of an outsider still. But he's been so adopted by the locals in ways that she doesn't feel like she has been yet. It makes her worried about herself. And I wonder if she's worried about her dad's girlfriend. Maybe she's an outsider and that makes her a risk in her eyes. Maybe? I'm not sure.
ケイちゃん、目立つこととか好きでしょ？
おいおいおいおい、本人不在で勝手に話を進めるな。俺は孤独と静寂を愛するロンリーガイだぜ。
Oh, that's such a lie.
誰が ロンリーガイだ。チェリーボーイの間違いでしょ。
Oh, hey. We're all. I'm pretty sure we all could fall into that category in this point in the story.
はあ、チェリーってなんだろう、なんだろう。
I bet you already know.
ケイチくん、チェリーボーイ。
Oh my gosh. Stop saying that.
うわー年頃の娘どもが朝っぱらからはしたないこと言ってんじゃねえ。
We're still feeling the after effects of yesterday. Mian and I made a lot of noise teasing each other all the way to school. Rena watched us and laughed happily. She does, like, now that I'm noticing and, like, we've seen some of her thoughts, now I am noticing that Rena, in a lot of times, is kind of passive about stuff. She really wants to be there, and she's involved, but she also tends to kind of let herself take a back seat. Like, she almost feels like she's sitting at a table that she doesn't deserve to sit at. Like, she's sitting with the grown-ups when she still feels like a kid. Like, she's thrilled, doesn't want to leave. But that awkward feeling of not belonging even when you belong, oh, I feel that so much. There's so many times, even like in my happiest, where I'm like in a group doing activities together, and yeah, I'm sitting there feeling like I'm not even comfortable in my own skin. I'm just there, and I'm like, should I be the one that's here? That's it's almost like an imposter syndrome. Sadako and Rika-chan were already there when we arrived at school. They were also full of energy. Tomita-kun and Okumura-kun were there, too. From that, we could tell we also had a good time yesterday. Everybody had been having a good time, really. In Hinamizawa, everybody's happy. We gotta stop laying it on so thick. What are you doing? Do you want a meteor to crash on the freaking school? Like, at this rate, we're really asking for it.
まだ引っ越してきて1年も経ったわけじゃないけどさ。
どうしたの突然。
いやさ、ひなみ沢に引っ越してきて、俺幸せになったなって。
Aw.
どうしたのケイちゃん。急に臭いこと言い出して。
レナにはわかるよ。ひなみ沢に引っ越してきて、すべてが幸せになった気持ち、よくわかる。
Yeah. Although, Rena, I feel like you're trying to convince yourself you're happy. I'm not convinced you actually are.
この村にはね、きっと人を幸せにする魔法がかかってるんだと思うから。
I do kind of want to eventually move to a smaller town. I don't necessarily want to go to Hinamizawa or anything like that, but that small town feel. I grew up in a smaller town. Not small, but smaller. And as I've, like, gotten older and ended up moving to bigger, more centralized, central population areas, I felt more and more that pull to go somewhere simpler, to go somewhere back in the middle of nowhere, somewhere quiet, because there is something special about a smaller community.
レナは幸せか？
That's the question.
レナはひなみ沢に引っ越してきてからが毎日幸せだよ。
そうだな。そいつは俺もだ。
ちょっとなんかおじさんだけのけ者っぽくない？
Why? You're here.
ブーブー。
The sky was clear, and a few thin clouds were pure white. The cry of the cicadas was telling me summer would be coming earlier than usual. Watanagashi just around the corner. I'm sure we'll have a great fun at the festival too. These will be more and more fun days to come, I'm sure of it. Summer's just around the corner. Oh my gosh, it's just this menacing shadow hanging over. The freaking sword of Damocles, just like someone slowly cutting the rope. Rena time. The last class of the day was finally over, meaning it was time for club activities. I was sure it would be fun. I couldn't wait. But then Mi-chan received a call and told us something had come up and she had to go, so we didn't have a club meeting today. I was really looking forward to it. There was nothing I could do. But I could at least chat with Keiichi-kun on the way home. It'll be fun. Keiichi-kun sometimes says mean things, but he's very funny. When I chat with him, my depression goes away. Wait, what did I just say? Yeah, when I chat with him, my depression goes away. So she's just constantly depressed, and even though she's pretending it's not real, she's trying desperately to ignore it. Am I depressed? God, isn't that a freaking mood? I have so much fun every day, and I'm as happy as I can be. And the music cut just right there. That's not great. What do I have to be depressed about? Girl, trust me. Depression is its own creature. It doesn't need a mood. It doesn't need an excuse. For me, so I'm kind of diagnosed with depression, but it's kind of complicated because mine's it's based on stimulation. Situational depression, that's what it is. So there's seasonal depression. That's where as the days get shorter, you tend to become more melancholy. I have something like that, but it has to do with my environment. When I feel like I'm overwhelmed or when a lot of bad things are happening and I can't, like, things are out of my control, or I just feel like I'm failing at something in a very, like, large scale way, it becomes a spiral of depression for me. I've needed help with it occasionally. Luckily, it's not something I've ever needed like long like medication for, and it's not something that's like constant like drag. Most people who have clinical depression, it's a constant war of just trying to fight those melancholy feelings and those like I call them spiral thoughts, like circle thoughts. They go like down a drain. It's like your thoughts just kind of keep pushing you further and further underwater, rather than like giving you time to like settle. Most people, we all experience depressions where our moods go down and we feel overwhelmed and just like unmotivated. But usually it's just like a dip under the water and we hover there for a bit and then we can work our way back up. When you have depression, especially the diagnosable kind, it's a vortex that keeps pulling you down further and further. And the more and more you go, the deeper and deeper you end up. And eventually it becomes a state where you don't know which way is up anymore. And it's hard to figure out what to do. That's why counseling is super helpful. It helps you talk through. And then for some people, you need medication and you need constant care. That's just life. And that's depression. And it really sucks, but that's what it is. In her case, I don't know. Mine is, like I said, very situational, where it's like I will be fine coasting through the ups and downs, and then I'll hit a point where like enough stuff stacks onto me, I end up in that vortex spiral. Rena feels like she might be more of the clinical depressed kind. Now, she's also got a streak of like something else. She might. Like, I kind of thought she might be bipolar in the first chapter because she would seemingly go manic and then sometimes be like dour, but I don't think so anymore. Now that we've seen what she is and her thoughts now, I think she's got depression, but she counters it by self-induced mania, and I'm not sure what that would be called. Anyway, well, it was obvious. Because of Rina-san, my father is happy now. Before he met her, he was like a lamp in a broad daylight. Honestly, he was like the living dead. Why is this making her depressed, though? But after he met Rina-san, he started to smile like he used to when he was living with my mother. He enjoyed talking with her and started going out with her. You could probably say that they went on dates. Now he looks 20 years younger. Rina-san gets along with my father very well. She's very kind to me, too. There's actually no reason for me to hate her. But the bitter memories of my parents' divorce and my many regrets were gradually eating away at my heart. I totally get that. That's gotta be real. I don't feel like I dealt with that part too much. There was a little bit of bitterness maybe at the very, very beginning, but it burned away pretty quickly because I could see that my parents just were not like I think they had worked and tried to find a path forward together and just decided it wasn't going to be, so they never even entertained the thought. And while they were sad about their divorce, they also were very resolved. They were very steadfast in that determination. So it was easier for me to kind of accept their new relationships when they came, because there was a finality to it. I think a lot of kids might struggle to let go of that and in their heart always feel like their parents should still be together. And that's just gotta be tough. Because yeah, clearly Rina's a great influence on her dad. He's she said that he's not depressed anymore. He shines and smiles. He looks 20 years younger. It's all good. You'd think she'd be happy for him, but there's a lot of her emotions tied up in all of that too. Was it okay to accept that woman? Rina-san might be the same as how Uncle Akihito turned out to be. Uncle Akihito. Oh, right. Uncle Akihito. I was like, who's that again? It's that was the guy who tried to become her pseudo-dad because he wanted to be together with her mom. Is she the enemy who takes my happiness away with her very existence? with or without bad intentions. Yeah, this is gonna be the crux of Rena's problem. What's really gonna get her kind of on that crazy track is the fact that she's kind of gone in the whole like the Sith deal in absolutes route, where either you are like, it's either you are with me or you're my enemy. Am I going to sit around until everything collapses again? Should I fight the enemy before it's too late? Rina-san came to my house a little too obviously. Since my father started letting her stay the night, many of her belongings have turned up in the house. My father and I don't smoke, but there's an ashtray in the living room. The futon in our guest room is hers now. In the bathroom, there's a toothbrush. And a shampoo I'd never choose to buy. I started to feel awkward around these things. I mean, that is kind of weird. Like, it's tough to get used to that. And that's when I started noticing it at the front door when I came home from school. Her perfume. I asked my father once if he was thinking about getting married to Rina-san. Well, that's freaking bold. I also gonna say though, like the perfume, I would bet her dad buys it for her as a present because he's always liked that smell because it's the one that her mom used to have. He looked a little embarrassed, perplexed, and confused, and he told me not yet. He knew I was hurt by the divorce. That's probably why he couldn't admit that he wanted to remarry. That's why he said not yet. He'd consider it, but not while I was still living with him. That's what he meant, I guess. There's only one reason why I don't want him to get remarried to Rina-san. I feel offended that my sanctum, my family, is being invaded. I might be being selfish, though. I know keeping my father all to myself means keeping him miserable like he was before I met Rina-san. He has a life to live, too. It's his right to heal from the pain of the divorce and to live, to find a new love. He wouldn't have to have gone through that painful life if I'd prevented the divorce from happening in the first place. Okay, well, there's your real problem, Rena. That wasn't your fault. You couldn't have done anything. You were way too young, first of all, and second of all, you just never could have. Your mom made the choices that she made. She was successful, put her business in front of everything, and when she became really successful, she caught the eye of a young, attractive man, and she just had lost the connection with your dad. Like, she barely lived there at that point. It kind of was inevitable if she was going to prioritize her work and her like feeling of superiority over her family. It was basically, she decided that long before she started dating that guy. He has a right to be happy and have right to a happy new life that lets him forget the pain we never deserved, and I don't have any right to stop him. In fact, I have an obligation to try and return his happiness to him. I have to pay for my sin, my inability to prevent his divorce. Again, you couldn't have done that. Then what should I do to make both of us happy? It wouldn't be that difficult. All I need to do would be to give my silent approval for their relationship. My father tells me he won't get remarried while we live together. That means I should stop leaning on my family, be strong, live on my own as soon as I can. Although that doesn't mean I can tell him not to go out with her until that day. Rina-san comes to our house to see him despite her busy schedule, and she even stays the night whenever her shift permits. They're adults. I have no right to say anything against that. That's why I choose to give my silent approval for their relationship, and tried to see her as little as I could. God, what a complicated girl, and what a complicated situation. She's like, I understand he deserves happiness, so I'm gonna let him be happy. But it bothers me a lot, so I'm not gonna be anywhere near it. I get along with Rina-san on the surface. I know my father would have a hard time keeping face if we didn't. But it's a very exhausting and painful thing to get along with a person I don't really like. So whenever Rina-san comes over, I spend as much time as possible outside and then head home late. Mii-chan's club activities are the most convenient things to do to kill time. There are some days we don't have a club meeting. On those days, I while away my time at the garbage dump hunting for treasure alone. And that's how I started to make a secret hideout. My father can do whatever he wants with Rina-san at home. I don't have to see them together, and I can spend my time peacefully at my hideout. And it sounds like her dad isn't that miffed about it because she'll go missing and come home really late. It doesn't sound like he has a problem with it, probably because it gives him time to be alone with her. I sometimes feel depressed about my life. I sometimes want to talk to someone about it. But nothing will change even if I talk to somebody. That's the lie. That's the lie I had to learn because I genuinely bought that too. I was like, I literally had the thought before I started my first round of therapy because my loved ones recommended I do it because they could see how much I was spiraling. But in my head, I always told myself that lie. The lie that, hey, talking about what's happening isn't going to change anything, so what's the point? And that's the thing. There is a point. And the point is that despite the fact that nothing changed, your perspective can. And that can make a huge difference because it stops that spiral down into the depths of the ocean. This is all I can really do. The most important thing for me should be to overcome the sadness of losing my family as fast as I could and to regain my own happiness. I have so much fun every day. I'm happy every day. Even on the way home, Keiichi-kun was talking about funny things that made me laugh. My feeling gloomy in spite of that was kind of rude. You can't blame yourself for having feelings. And the fact that you're recognizing that they're inappropriate is good, but you're deciding to use that to blame yourself, Rena. You can't do that. You can recognize, hey, these aren't normal thoughts, and instead you should be reaching out. God, mental health. Mental health keeps getting sidelined so much. It's never something to be ignored. And just because you feel like, oh, I can manage, no. Talk to people, even if it's a little bit, even if it's a friend. Always talk to somebody. Somebody's willing to listen. Somebody would absolutely be happy to hear you talk about your feelings, like Rena's not talking about them. Like, there are people in Rena's life who would be very happy to listen to her. Give her an ear, at least let her talk it out. Keiichi's one, I bet Mion would be willing to. Rika, Satoko, I'm sure they'd listen. I don't know how well they do with that, but like maybe Rika at least. But your dad, like, I know that's hard because he's so involved and mixed up in those feelings, but I know he'd listen. My father should be happy. I should be happy. I feel sad because I still can't separate from my father. Compared to the unexpectedness of the divorce, Rina-san's invasion is a very slow process. I think Rina-san understands how I feel. She treats me very kindly, but she doesn't do more than that. I think she understands that I'd feel uncomfortable if she did. I respect Rika-chan because she's strong even without her parents. Compared to the pain of losing both her parents unexpectedly, my problem's like nothing. I respect Satoko-chan's toughness too. She also lost her parents and was forced to live with a painful life under her uncle and aunt. Compared to the cruel treatment that she had to go through, my relationship with Rina-san is a blessed one. I keep feeling anxious, but that's just because I'm still immature and because I feel like I'm not ready to separate from my father. That's the other thing too. One of the unfortunate lies that people will tell themselves when they really could use some help and they just won't ask for it is that they look around and say, well, my life's not that bad, so I shouldn't complain. Like, yeah, maybe, your life is not nearly as bad as that, but that doesn't mean that your feelings are invalidated because somebody else had it worse. You can play that game all day. You can play that game until the end of the universe. You'll always find an excuse. That doesn't matter. You're also not effective if you're not happy. You're not effective if you don't know how to process your own emotions or win that war of like basic emotional entropy that all of us end up fighting in some form or another, some of us more harshly than others. It's never, ever, ever about not being a bother. In fact, you can be so much better as a person, be a better support, be a better carer and lover, fighter, and being if you can pull yourself out, get the help you need, the helping hand to get up, to kind of breach that surface tension, get yourself to a point where you can become stable. And it doesn't have to be a forever thing. Counseling doesn't have to last forever. Maybe it can, maybe it needs to, but for most people, they just need a little pick-me-up every once in a while. I have to be strong like Rika-chan and Satoko-chan. I have to try my best to be happy. I'm going to live with all my might in order to regain the peace of mind that I lost that day. My assumption that I'm not happy is just a mistake. I should appreciate the wonderful days I spend with my wonderful friends. Just by realizing that I'm happy, the world shines so brightly.
それでね、あんまりにも可愛いから、レナ、はお持ち帰りって。
Whenever she talked like this, it always annoyed me. It felt so artificial. And it's funny, because it was. Like, it really was. Not just like, oh, like, this is a quirk that the writer's given her to make her memorable. It's like, no, it's such a forced feeling. It's just so ham-fisted, and now we have this extra little bit of context. It's just so obvious.
やれやれ。
But if you were really in a situation like this, you probably wouldn't see it because it's just who she's been the whole time you've known her.
レナは毎日を楽しく過ごすことに関しては達人だな。
レナは毎日が楽しいよ。こんなにも素敵な友人たちに囲まれて過ごす、こんなにも素晴らしい日々があって、どうして不幸が感じられる？
だな。不幸なんかここにはないよ。
Nobody becomes unhappy? Brother, you have no idea.
いつまでも楽しくて不幸なことなんかとは一切無縁。それがひなみ沢ってとこなんだからよ。
Oh my gosh, dude. You have no clue. He should have stopped right there. But he just kept going.
レナが羨ましいよな。
Oh no.
その悩み知らずな能天気さが羨ましいぜ。
Oh, that hurts.
はあ、バカにされてるっぽい気がする。でも、毎日が楽しいなら、私は能天気でもいいかな。
And again, it's like it's those phrases, those like people saying side comments, you know. And then even when she pretends to not know what certain phrases and words mean, she knows, doesn't she? She's always known. She just likes to act silly and dumb and airheaded because, you know, it makes people underestimate her, makes people feel like she's always happy. They don't expect complication.
かな？
I don't have any worries. I feel like I do, but that's just because I'm immature and I still want my father's attention. Come on. Say the magical words. It'll cheer you up.
はあ、
ん？
I didn't make any sense to say it now, but I was going to say it anyway because this is my magical phrase that always cheers me up.
はう、お持ち帰り。
God. That puts so much backlog. Oh. I wonder if she's never actually meant this every time she said it. I mean, there's some times where it feels like it was so contextually perfect it might have been true. Like she actually wants to take people home. Like in her cute mode where she becomes like super aggressive and clever. That feels like it might be real, at least somewhat real, right? But the implication here is almost every time she says this is her just trying to beat back her own depressive thoughts. And if that's true, that's so much. So much.
なんだよ突然。でもそれでこそレナだぜ。
That's right. This is me, Rena. I'm not Rena. Rena still wants to help her parents' attention. Rena is a goofy and carefree girl. She knows that every day is full of happiness and that she's the kind heart that has the kind heart to appreciate it too. I should forget about icky things. I should live a wonderful life free of anything icky. Icky starts with I, and that's why I got rid of the I in Rena. I'm Rena. I'm gonna recapture the happiness I lost when I left Hinamizawa. I will overcome any pain and hardship. I can be happy because I got rid of icky things. I'm sure there are only incredible things waiting for me. Oh, incredible starts with I too. It's like she can't escape it. Those dark thoughts, they're just waiting to pounce on every little thing. I was almost home, and when my house appeared, I noticed something different there. There was a truck parked in front of my house. There was nothing on the back of it, but I can tell it brought something here because I saw cardboard boxes, blankets, and ropes on the ground. From the front of the house, I heard voices of two young men saying, "Well, we'll be going now." As they passed me by, I walked towards the front door. They were wearing some kind of work uniform. They looked like delivery people. My father was about to close the door when he noticed me.
ただいま。何かあったの？
おかえり、レーナ。見てごらん。すごいぞ。
My father looked to be in a good mood. I didn't know what he was, but whatever he was smiling like that, I just wanted to smile back at him. Oh boy, though. His eyes used to look like those of a dead fish no matter how hard I tried to smile at him. But these days he could put on a big smile just to surprise me. He had been literally coming back to life since a year ago when we moved back to Hinamizawa. No, since he started dating Rina-san. When I see him smile like this, I'm happy, but at the same time I feel confused because I don't know whether I should thank Rina-san or not. Rina-san or not. And also, like, I wonder if there's also a part of it where she feels more like a failure and feels that enforcement about that failure because she feels like she should have been able to make her dad happy again, right? Even though Rena can't give him what he's wanting. He wants a companion. He wants somebody to bond with and have an emotional connection with. She can't ever be that, like not in that way, obviously, but she probably wishes she could at least like be something that could bring that happiness. Like, why did another person have to be the one that made him happy again?
ほら、すごいだろ。
He took me to the living room. He was probably expecting me to go ooh and ah. So whether there was something in the living room or not, I was ready to go ooh and ah for him.
わあ、なにこれ。どうしたのお父さん。
I tried to sound excited and surprised. He was standing behind me, probably smiling with satisfaction at hearing my excited voice. I, on the other hand, was desperately trying to understand what was going on. For a moment, I thought I was in someone else's house. You see, the living room had been completely redecorated. Oh no. The furniture we had was all basically from the former house at Ibaraki. My parents brought most of the furniture when they got married, so it was all old and a little dirty. Some of them still had crayon scribbles from when I drew when I was very little. But all of that was gone. Everything in the living room had turned to a pastel color, looking very sophisticated like the rooms you'd see in soap operas. The new carpet looked very tropical. The new curtains matched with the carpet. The new sofa looked very expensive. The living room in general looked like a resort hotel. The channel switcher on their old TV was broken, and we used to have the pliers to change the channels. Oh wow. I've never had it be that bad before. But it was gone too, replaced by a new one with a big screen. The room's lights had also been replaced by nicer looking ones. The living room looked like a totally different world under a new fluorescent light.
すごいねお父さん。これはどうしたの？
心機一転さ。もう引っ越してきて1年にもなるんだから、お父さんもそろそろ気分を切り替えて、新しい生活に踏み出さないとなって思ったんだよ。
On one hand, this is super healthy, honestly. Being able to do a fresh start. Maybe, it depends. If you have it in your budget, it's great. You shouldn't spend money you don't have. But I'm guessing he's had the money. Like, he saved it up or something. So that's great. But Rena's going to see it as like a washing away of all her memories. Because for her, sentimentality is huge. It's a massive part of her life. I suggested redecorating the house once in order to cheer him up. Because he was still in pain after the divorce. But he wasn't interested at the time. He didn't want to get rid of the old furniture he had chosen with my mother because he still couldn't get over her even though she cruelly broke up with him. I wanted to suggest it again when the time was right. I never thought he'd do it on his own initiative.
そうだね。こんな綺麗なお部屋だと心も晴れ晴れするもんね。素敵なお部屋だと思うよ。
いいだろう。ほら、レーナ。お前、ユリースに憧れてたろ。まだ組み立ててないけど、ほら、ちゃんとあるんだぞ。はうー、お父
さんすごいすごいすごい。これ、私がもらってもいいのかな？
こらこら、それはみんなの共用のものだから、レーナだけってわけじゃないんだぞ。
共用でも、レナが占領しちゃうからダメ。
That is kind of a cute response, but... My father explained the details of his redecoration proudly. He told me that he only did the living room this time, but he's going to redecorate all the rooms. He sure had to become more active. There are some parts about the redecoration I didn't like, but I still thought it was great because it made him happy. I found the old furniture, outside in the yard.
あれは、捨てちゃうの？
まあ、この際だと思ってな。後で業者が引き取りに来てくれることになってる。
This is where it's going to be hard for her. Getting rid of the old furniture means putting an end to my mother. I hated the furniture because it smelled like my mother, and I tried to break everything once. I understand why my father wants to take the opportunity to get rid of them. But for some reason, this new living room makes me feel like I no longer belonged here. My father didn't choose the new furniture. Rina-san probably did. Most likely, my father and Rina-san decided to redecorate the living room and went to a furniture store to buy everything. I tried to think positively. The reason why my father didn't tell me about the redecoration was because he wanted to surprise me. No, my father never really considered things that deeply. So I suppose he didn't tell me because he just didn't think he needed to tell me. Which is unfortunate. I'm sure he didn't redecorate the living room to make me feel like I was no longer welcome. Don't be negative, Rena. My father didn't have any bad intentions. He didn't want to get rid of me. He doesn't think I'm the reason he can't get remarried. And yet... why did I feel so sad looking at the old furniture in the yard? Why did I feel like I didn't belong? I realized the reason right away. The reason was me. To him, wanting to have a fresh start by getting rid of the things that reminded him of my mother might be an indication of his unconscious desire to get rid of her daughter. My father doesn't really consider things deeply, so he might not be thinking that I'm the reason he can't get remarried. But he understands that he can't get remarried while we live together. By staying with him, I'm torturing my father. That was my fault he had to get a divorce. That's why I have to support him to help recapture his happiness. See, this is actually a really good explanation of the spiral. Look at how these thoughts start, right? So, don't be negative. He doesn't have bad intentions. It's good. He doesn't think I'm the reason he can't get remarried. But I feel sad because it feels like I don't belong. The reason is it's because of me. He wants a fresh start. And he probably wants to get rid of me as part of that fresh start. He doesn't think about things, so he probably doesn't actually realize it. But he can't get remarried while I live together. By staying with him, I'm torturing my father. It was my fault he got a divorce. So you see how the spiral goes from like this idea of like, he wants to redecorate because he wants a fresh start. But I feel like I don't belong. And because she thinks she doesn't belong, she starts to reason about why, and it's like, oh, my dad doesn't feel like he wants a fresh start, but he can't move forward because I'm here, because I'm preventing him, which she's not, but she sees it that way. And then she's like, he's happy, but I'm holding him back. Maybe he wants to get rid of me, and he just doesn't know it. And he's right to. Like, she starts justifying, saying like, and he should, because I'm the one holding him back, because I am a bad influence on him, and I'm the one that, like, and I'm torturing him. Like, she's like, I'm actively preventing him from being happy, and it was my fault that the divorce happened. So the spiral goes deeper and deeper down into that well. I couldn't just keep him all to myself. I'd have to start thinking about living on my own. I don't need to go to university. I should think about getting a job. But who would hire an uneducated girl like me? Even if somebody did hire me, I wouldn't be able to earn enough money to live on my own. Maybe I should think about working as a host at a hostess club like Rina-san does. So she's a hostess. Interesting. People only choose the jobs they can. A girl like me doesn't have a lot of choices. Not a lot of companies would hire me or pay the amount of money I'd need to live on my own. But, come to think of it, where is the place where I belong? It's so funny how all of us always assume, and partly because we're told, we're going to like get out of high school, we're going to pick up that thing we're excited about, and we're going to get this job, right? But so many of us end up not having those lives. So many of us ending up getting kind of comfortable somewhere and just kind of sticking with it. Maybe a certain industry, maybe a certain position, maybe a certain state, like we just get comfy. And a lot of us go through the rest of our lives, kind of just where we are. And that's okay. But it's funny how many of us think we're going to hit it big, when it just can't happen to everybody. But the funny thing is that my life, despite having been horrifically derailed multiple times because of life, illness, circumstance, whatever, I found myself kind of falling into a track that's actually looking like it's going to work out pretty well for me in the end. So I think it's never worth giving up on. You should always push and try and search and keep your eyes open, because you never know when an opportunity pops up that will actually be the one that you'll ride on. Whenever I end up feeling like this, I miss my secret hideout in the trash piles. I love to get under my blankets and feel the warmth on a cold night. The hideout gets hot and humid during the day and very cold at night. It's not a very comfortable place to spend time in. But it might be the place where I can relax the most. More than I can at my house. No, I shouldn't think like this. I shouldn't think that my house has been invaded by Rina-san. I should thank her for making my father happy. Rina-san isn't trying to kick me out of the house. She's trying to get along with me. But I'm not opening my heart to her. I'm the bad one. I'm the bad one. See, the spiral. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Satoshi-kun and his aunt didn't get along at all, and she abused him for a long time. Compared to him, my situation's a lot easier. And the justification. She feels terrible, but she justifies it because she's like, hey, could have been worse. Satoko-chan and Rika-chan lost their parents, and I live together, and they live together now. They've been through very hard times. On the other hand, I live with my father. I should be blessed. I shouldn't think I'm unhappy just because of these things. I am happy. I'm blessed. The trouble with me is I can't admit that I'm happy. My father kept talking proudly about the redecoration. I nodded at him with a big smile and let him keep at it.
そうだ、いけない。レイナ、すまないんだが、ちょっとお使いを頼めないか？
Oh?
お使い？いいよ。
お父さんな、ジャケットを2着ほど洋服屋さんに取り寄せさせてるんだ。それがな、今日届くらしいんだ。ちょっとお父さんは回収業者さんを手伝わなきゃならないから、レーナが代わりに取ってきてくれないか？
いい。お店を教えて。どんなジャケットを取り寄せたんだろう。楽しみ。
No matter what they look like, I'm sure Rina-san picked them out for him. Although I don't mind going, I'd rather go to the store than listen to his stories about the redecoration of our living room. I got the receipt, asked him what the store is, changed my clothes, and left the house. I started pedaling my bicycle and looked at the old furniture in the yard for the last time. They used to be the object of my hatred, but for some reason, now they made me feel sentimental. Is it because I still regret losing the loss of my mother, even though I hate her? I couldn't let that poisonous emotion take over my heart. I understood that in my mind, but I just couldn't get rid of that feeling. The old furniture wasn't the only stuff that was kicked out of the house. There was also a lot of junk I brought home from the landfill. My father's probably going to throw that away too. He doesn't like the junk I collect. I like how in her mind she calls it junk instead of calling it treasures. He'll probably let the delivery company take it all together with the old furniture. Just like the animals that rub its scent on the home in order to feel secure, I collect all the junk in order to make sure I could stay there. No, that's not it. I wanted to bring them to the house because they were abandoned by their former owners. Oh my gosh. And they need a place to live. God, that's so sad. I don't know why. Why do you think so dark? I know why she does. And she can't help it. But my gosh, it's heart-wrenching. Ah. The store where my father ordered the jackets is at a fancy boutique. It's hard to believe my father would shop at a store like this on his own. I could tell right away that Rina-san took him here. I handed over the receipt to the cashier, and a short time later, the store manager came out wearing a perplexed look.
リュウグ様、大変申し訳ございません。実は入荷のトラックが高速で事故渋滞に巻き込まれているようでございまして。
Oh, okay. I thought they were already going to have been picked up.
おそらくはもうじき到着すると思うのですが。
He said that the driver called a while ago and told him that he just got off the highway and would be here in about an hour. I didn't need to know all the details, but he explained it to me anyway. I asked him if I should come back tomorrow. He insisted I should wait because the truck would be coming shortly, and he urged me to take a seat on the sofa. But I didn't really feel comfortable waiting there, so I told him I'd be back soon and left the store. I wonder if there are any fast food restaurants nearby. I might have to go all the way back to the station. I looked around and found a coffee house. The glass on the door was black and I couldn't see inside. But there was a poster saying the price of a cup of tea was lower than normal for women on weekdays. Why? I'd just be getting a cup of tea to kill some time. Should be okay. But still, I hesitated to go inside before opening the door. Our first impression of the coffee house was the smell of cigarettes. Why are we jumping away from her point of view now? It's normal for a coffee house to be filled with cigarette smoke. It's like it's a requirement. But Rena-san still regretted her decision. While she was thinking about leaving, the proprietor spoke to her briskly and showed her to a table. Rena gave up on the idea of leaving and sat down. The atmosphere of the shop was far from clean, normal coffee house shop where you would go to simply enjoy a coffee and cigarette. It was more like a place where vulgar people would hang out. Rena didn't feel comfortable at all, but what bothered her was the laughter of a man and a woman sitting together at the very back of the shop. If it's gonna be... what is it? Rika? If it's Rika back there with a different person after her dad was being so happy, I can probably guess what's gonna happen. Oh, that's absolutely what this is, isn't it? Her table was behind a planter, so depending on how one looked at it, one could say she was in the spot most protected from their laughter. But Rena looked as though she wanted to leave as soon as she finished her tea. The bell hanging on the entrance door rang, letting her know a customer just came in. It was a little surprising for her that a coffee shop like this would draw so many customers. Rena peeked at the newcomer from behind the planter. There were two of them. They looked like vulgar men, the kind of people you don't want to get involved with in the instant you saw them. The proprietor tried to show them to a table, but they ignored him and walked toward the back. They walked up to the couple who had been laughing loudly and greeted them with a bow.
Oh.
Tepe.
やっと来よったんか。まあ座れや。
The couple started laughing, and the man told the newcomers to sit down in a threatening tone of voice. As instructed, the two of them took a seat.
んで、どういうこったん？
すんまへん。なんとかその。
ごたくはええねポケ。とっととうなるもんさらさんかい。
The two of them looked at each other before they each took out an envelope in their pockets and put it on the table. The man roughly grabbed the two envelopes and tore one of them open. Inside, there were many wrinkled 10,000 yen bills in a bundle with a rubber band. He opened the other one to make sure it also had cash in it and threw it at the woman.
おい、数えんね。
ちょっと
It is her!
私に命令しないでくれる？
It is her!
もともと私の金なんだから。
じゃがましい。黙って数えんなええんね。
The man yelled at the woman. She licked her thumb, looking annoyed, and started counting the cash expertly. The two newcomers hung their heads while she counted. Lighting a cigarette, the man waited for her to finish counting.
はいよ。全部あるわよ。
Wait a minute. Tepe. That name sounds familiar. That's not Satoko's uncle, is it? Because if that's Satoko's uncle, and Rina is... Could Rina be his girlfriend? Who dumps him and sends him back to town? That can't be, right? Like, that the name Tepe sounds familiar, but I gotta be misremembering that, because if that's the case... The woman said that after flicking through the last bill. The newcomers looked relieved. The man, however, didn't look satisfied as he stared at the bundle of bills and the woman was holding.
リツコ、それいくらあった？
ん？全部って言ったわよ。
全部っていくらかっちゅって聞いとんねん。
だから、私が貸した金全部だって言ってるでしょ。
バゲが。利子はついとるか聞いとるんねん。
The man and Iritsuko yelled at each other. Even though they were making all the noise, the other customers acted like they didn't hear anything.
おい、兄さん方、200万ビッタンこっきゃないね。どういうこっちゃ？
The two of them were trying to find some excuse to make. It seemed like this behavior had touched the man's nerves. He started looking furious.
おら！黙っとったらわからんがな。
God, he's just wannabe mafia boss. His angry voice echoed through the shop. He hit the table hard and dropped a glass on the floor, the noise thickening the tension in the atmosphere.
すんまへん。
すまんで済んだら警察はいらんちゅうねん。こちとら出るとこ出ても一個に構わんでんの。
Oh, sure. Like you would actually call the police for this.
それはどうかご勘弁ください。
The two newcomers must have been in an extremely vulnerable position. They bowed so deeply their foreheads almost touched the table.
それを勘弁したるって今日呼んだんねん。それがどういうけじめのつけ方な。あ？
すんまへん。エロすんまへん。
While you could pity them, the newcomers looked as vulgar as the man threatening them, making it hard to decide whether you should feel sorry for them or not. After a while, Ritsuko opened her mouth as if to offer them help.
てっちゃん？
Okay, so I need to do something here because I forgot to do last time. Wait, let the animation video close the menu? Okay.
すごんじゃかわいそうでしょ。
There it is. Okay. This is their look in the fancy one. She definitely gets a lot bustier, that's for sure, than the star. And then this is the original. I mean, you gotta admit the art improved from the first game. Yeah, she looks very different through the 3 modes. Anyway.
ごめんね。うちの人、銭絡むとすぐトサカに来ちゃう人で。
銭絡むと余計だねん。お前にあやつけよったんから本気になっとんよ、おら。
もう、バカなこと言っても何にも出ないわよ。
The man pulled Ritsuko roughly to his arm and frantically kissed her lips without caring about the other customers. Their kisses weren't that lovely ones that normal couples would share. It looked obscene instead. He let her lips go to take a breath, kissed them again, then repeated for a while. Ugh. After a while, he finally got bored of kissing and let her go.
うちの人は私のことになるとすぐ頭に血が上っちゃうのよね。困ったもんなのよ。
おう、そうよ。こいつと俺はいわば一心同体ね。 この女に泥塗り腐るやつは俺に塗ったんと同じやんな。血祭りじゃすまんねえ。
I'm more and more convinced that I'm right and that he's like Satoko's uncle, and it's so much worse.
いつぞやかのほらあいつあれ表連れてってからどうしたんだったっけ？
あんバカが表出るとか抜かしょんから野郎空手やるとか抜かしおるからどの程度か思うたん。ちょっと芝居たら即土下座やん。拍子抜けしたからズボン脱がせてそいつでこの表の歩道を磨かせてやったわ。
I don't understand. Like, that's an odd direction to take things, dude.
おお、俺町の役に立っとんねん。お役所に表彰してもらいたいんわ。
やだ、そんなことさせたの？あんたって時々容赦がないのよね。
Agreed. On so many levels. They started laughing loudly like they were doing earlier. Their laughter obviously intimidated their companions.
ねえあんたたち、てっちゃん、今日はねすっごく機嫌がいいの。普段だったら銭が足りんって騒ぎ出して、今頃あんたたちすっぱだかにされて玉子川に叩き込まれてるわよ。
すんまへんすんまへん。
まあ、
Why is the car traffic so loud in here, by the way?
利子は忘れたちゅうたかてかっちりキースまでに額を揃えたんだきゃ。そこいらへん評価したってもええんで。
それでね、てっちゃんの利子ちょいとあんまりだと思ったのよ。今日だから5本で済むけどすぐに売買ゲームになっちゃうでしょ。
Uh-huh.
そしたらあんたたちすぐに逆立ちしても払えなくなっちゃうわよ。
Did she say it's 5? Does she mean 5 million?
でね、私あんたたちにいい話があんの。
Let's also move it over there.
てっちゃん、悪いけどあんたちょっと席を外してちょうだい。
しょうがねえな。
The man left the table with a grin and headed for the bathroom. He was far too amiable for that request, as if they'd planned for him to leave the table at that moment. They're partners in crime. Ritsuko made sure that he was in the bathroom, then took out some papers from her bag and spread them on the table.
あんたたちも若いんだからあんなヤクザに絡まれて一生を不意にしたくないでしょ。
I wonder if she's the boss, like she really is the mastermind. Especially because if Teppei is who I think he is, she dumps him and he flees to Hinamizawa and like becomes just a bum. So she's the brains.
だからね、てっちゃんの利子は今日きっちり払っちゃいなさい。そうすればあんたたちはとりあえずあいつとは縁を切れるわけなんだから。
そりゃそうですけど。
Their whole routine basically is good cop, bad cop.
でも50万なんてこれ以上もう払えないっす。
So it's $500,000.
まあそうよね。200万だって相当精一杯集めたんでしょ。さらに50万も工面できるあてなんてないでしょう。
They must have done their very best to collect even the money they brought today. So it must be impossible for them to collect even a dime from anyone now. He hung their heads and told her that. I think instead of dime, because like dime is an idiom that makes sense in like the the U.S. at least, but they should have kept it a yen. We understand how much like we've already been talking about yen up until here, but I guess they're leaving it. Maybe not actually. I assumed it's yen, but like they might be leaving it. Maybe they translated it into dollars too. If so, that's insane that they even could pull together on a whim 2 million.
でね、ほら気を利かせて私が書いてきてあげたのよ。
The guys looked at the paper on the table and muttered under their breaths.
担保も連帯もいらないんでちょいと利率はあれだけど。
Oh my gosh, she's just offering them a different loan.
これなら即50万積んでくれるわよ。それにさ、この利率でもてっちゃんの利率よりははるかにマシだと思うんだけど。
It's so sketchy.
どう思うかしら？
It's like so sketchy that she's like, oh, you have an under the table like deal with a terrible loan rate. Like I'll give you this awful like loan rate, but it's better than the underground version. It would be easy for anyone to guess what Ritsuko was trying to force them to do.
これにサインしたのを見せれば彼も男気を感じて勘弁してくれると思うわね。 どうする？あ、万年筆。使うなら置いとくわよ。
They read the small print of the document and were stunned by the outrageous interest rate. Ritsuko didn't force them to do anything. She just looked out the window and smoked her cigarette. After a while, the man returned from the bathroom.
おう、話はついだが。
They looked at him, steeled themselves, and took the pen.
てっちゃんの利子、借金で一括返済するって。
おお、関心なワーコードだね。男は背負うもんがなくちゃあかんね。
They must have planned this from the beginning. The man and Ritsuko got what they wanted and grinned at each other. Yeah, it's not like it's that subtle, but the thing is, they've got him over a barrel. There's no other choice in, like, at least their eyes. There were many things to fill out on the document, and it was taking them a long time. The man and Ritsuko, already knowing that, started talking about amongst themselves.
律子、お前のHinamizawaの旦那の調子はどう
Oh
なんだ？
no, it's a scam too.
ん？旦那なんてよしてよね。
どうなんよ。だいぶ銭持っとんと聞かされてるん。
Crap. He got money from the divorce, didn't he?
どのぐらい絞れそうなんよ。
そうそう、それがさ、すっごいのよ。
All right, Rena. I'm starting to come on board with Team Watanagashi is a very convenient day. I don't know if I'm quite there like I was in Chapter 3, but we're approaching that level of it's godly convenient.
別れた奥さんがだいぶ慰謝料をくれたらしいってのは聞いてたのよ。でもね、それが本当にすっげーあるらしいのよね。
かなりってどのぐらいねん？
銀行に5000万くらい持ってるわよ。
Oh gosh.
あぶく銭なわけだしね。もう気前がいいのなんのって。
50 million's a great amount, but that'll go fast if you're not careful.
なんねそれ。で、どの辺まで行けそうなんね。
私にだいぶお熱みたいだからね。だって私が言えば何でも買うのよ。何でも。
Oh man.
あんたみたいなドケチとは大違いよね。私も本気になっちゃおうかしら。
抜かせボケ。俺以上の男が他にいるか。
もうこんなところでよしてよ。
で、そのHinamizawaの旦那にどう持ってくつもりなんよ。
あんたを出しに手切れ金がいるって方向で持ってくつもりなのよ。
なんぼふっかけるつもりね。
そりゃ
つっかずが恐ろしい女じゃんね。
Yeah. I don't like she.
エキストラがいるときは呼んでな。俺も大暴れしちゃるんで。
すみません。書きました。
ああ、じゃそれ持ってローン行こうか。律子、会計頼むね。
The man patted them on the shoulder and walked out the door. Another person was just about to enter, and they nearly ran into each other. The man probably wouldn't make way for a person considering his personality. But when he noticed who the person was, he stepped aside. Oh my gosh, it's you! Oh, hello, hello. The person who looked as vulgar as all the other men, but he's actual Yakuza, so he's he actually could he's the shark in this particular ocean. He was wearing a black suit with sunglasses on. He wasn't that big, but his stern look was very intimidating. It was clear at a glance he was a gangster, and a professional one at that. The man who was behaving badly earlier looked a little nervous in front of him. As Ritsuka finished paying the check, she noticed the man in the suit.
総支配人。
General manager. Oh, so they're subsidies of the Sonozakis. Oh my gosh. It's all so freaking convoluted. They're all connected to each other.
どうもおはようございます。
Holy crap. That makes this so much more messy. The man in the suit said nothing, just raised his chin as if saying F off. Ritsuko and the others bowed to him and they left the shop in a hurry. The proprietor noticed the man in the suit and greeted him with a bow. This place is owned by the Sonozakis, of course. Who could he have been? He appeared sedate compared to the other men, but he must be dangerous because he made even them step aside. Everybody in the shop thought the same thing and tried not to look at him. The man in the suit looked around and found the menu on the wall. The proprietor walked up to him hesitantly.
Master.
はい。何か部長報がございましたでしょうか。
Maybe the owner's not Sonozaki. Then maybe this is a shakedown.
この日替わりデザートのスイートなんとかというのは今日はやっているのか。
This is Shion asked for a certain dessert, didn't she, around this time, and he was looking for it?
は？いえ、本当は今日はやってないんですが、どうしてもとおっしゃるんでしたら特別にご用意を。
無理なら無理と言ってくれればいい。出直す。
ほら、葛西
There she is.
特別にご用意って言ってくれてるじゃないですか。
Oh, this implies Rena knew about Shion like way back here now, if she didn't already before. But she did kind of seem like she wasn't that surprised when it came around, so yeah, it makes sense. God, this is such... Oh, my brain can't handle all the freaking interlocking connections. Everything is so, like, it's so much more, like, everything. All of it stacked together now.
ここまで来てみっともない。
The girl seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the heavy atmosphere in the shop, and she came in laughing cheerfully. It was Mion Sonozaki's twin sister, Shion. Okay, so she knew already. Shion pushed Kasai into the store while he hesitated. She looked like a girl who was sitting down and stopped in her tracks.
あれ？やっぱりそうだ。ハロローン、レナさんじゃないですか。こんにちは。
しーちゃん？
こんなとこで会うなんてびっくりです。あれ？お一人？
I think this must be post like the bus stop interaction that they had, but like at that time she was being Mion, so I don't know if it's quite that. But they definitely had met, I think. I'm trying to remember when though.
ひょっとして誰かと待ち合わせ？お姉かな？いやいや、ひょっとしてケイちゃんかな？
しーちゃん、その連れの人は？
葛西のこと？まあ、私のボディーガードとか思っといてください。命の危険が迫ったら、葛西が守ってくれるんだよね。
Yes, and including protecting you from your cravings.
それがお望みでしたら命に変えてでも。
うわー、葛西、あと20も若かったらやばいかもだね。
Don't tease him like that.
顔は怖いけど面白いやつです。こちらはね、竜宮レナさん、お姉のお友達。
葛西です。よろしく。
葛西さん、さっきすれ違った人たちは知り合いですか？
Uh-huh. Kasai nodded, indicating that he was familiar with them.
誰？私は全然あんなの見たことないけど。
男は北条と。
It is him, Fetch! Ugh. Oh, that's so gross.
ちょいと礼儀知らずのろくでなしです。
That's true. Shion seemed to know who he was once when she mentioned it, when she heard the name Hyojo. Yeah.
女の人の方は？
So Shion's like, oh, I hate him by default too.
マミやリナ。源氏名だと思いました。確か律子って名前だったかと。フラワーロードの店の一つで働いてる従業員です。
I mean, Rena must have recognized her. She just was trying not to.
葛西さん、リナさんとその北条さんはどういう人たちなんですか？
I mean, it sounds like off the wall, but Rena needs to know.
とても仲が良さそうに見えました。
北条は確かリナとは深い仲かと。
Oh, yeah.
たちの悪い連中ですので、関わり合いになられない方がいいと思います。
Yeah.
どうたちが悪いんですか？
Oh no, she's asking for permission. She's saying that the two fields, right? For or against, good or bad, black or white, and she's about to officially make Rena enemy. Rena pressed him for an answer, and Kasai seemed to back down a little from the pressure.
女の私生活には触れないのが仁義ってもんです。
どうたちが悪いんですか？
それはご勘弁を。
どうたちが悪いんですか？
This is determined Rena. This is forceful Rena. Rena kept asking the same question until she got an answer. Shion sensed how desperate Rena was and cut into the conversation.
葛西、意地悪しないで教えてあげなさいよ。
Thank you, Shion.
興味本位で聞いてるわけじゃなさそうだしさ。ね、レナさん。
There was a tension developing between Rena and Kasai. Shion seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the mood. Kasai finally opened his mouth.
あの二人は、たちの悪いろくでなしどもです。恐喝と博打で生計を立ててると聞いています。
Yep.
詐欺行為もやるって話で。
Badger games. Of course they would.
詐欺ってどんな？
It's basically what we just saw. It's the idea that, like, you set up the situation where there is no real way out, but you constantly push them deeper and deeper into a hole.
あいつらの詐欺ってのは結婚詐欺ってやつですか？
Oh, okay. I guess I was misreading that, but still, that's huh.
要するに男の人に言い寄っていい感じになったところで相棒の男が乱入して俺の女に何しやがるって金を巻き上げる古典的恐喝です。
散々貢がされた挙句、根こそぎ巻き上げようっていうクズどもです。
Oh my gosh.
最近でかい相手を引っ掛けたらしいと噂になっています。
Yeah.
じゃあそりゃあどちら様か存じないけど気の毒なことで。
And it sucks too because we can be like, hey, this is happening, and he's be like, no, she loves me.
でもまあ鼻の下を伸ばした代償なわけだし自業自得。
No, Shion.
そんな言い方はないもんです。男は時にコロッと女に騙されちまうもんですよ。
It's true.
おー
Rena's just gone.
何それ、葛西をコロッと騙した女って誰？マスター、デザートは私と葛西とあとレナさんでって。あれ？
She heard everything she needed.
今お帰りになりましたよ。
Rena was already gone. The door, which had just closed, looked as if it was the only thing that knew where she went. Ooh. I just had a thought, too. So, when Rena, we now know, breaks up with, like, Tepe, is Rena the catalyst for that? Does she do something to to Rena, that pushes her to break up with him? And does Tepe run away to here for some reason? Oh my gosh. When I got home, the door was locked. I used my key to get in and found a note in the living room. Something's come up, I have to go. I'm going to eat out tonight, is what the note said. This wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. Each time, he'd only meant he had to go to Okonomiya for something. But I knew the real reason, because I heard him talking on the phone once. Rina-san must have had some free time between jobs and asked him to have dinner together. I heaved a sigh and looked at the new living room I hated and went to my room. I thought back over what I just heard at the coffee house. I tried to rationalize the meaning of her actions there. Maybe she had to pretend to be a bad person because she was being threatened by the man. But even as the man she called Tetchan left the table, she continued to threaten the guys and push them to sign the loan contract immediately. If she was threatening to play along with the man, she wouldn't have done that. She was pretending to be a bad person. She could have shown a little bit of mercy or sympathy when he left her alone with them. It's like holding water in a bowl you made with your hands. No matter how sturdy you made the bowl, water would leak from your fingers. Mercy and sympathy leaked out from you. But nothing, not even a drop of water leaked from Rina-san. Her hands weren't even moist. They were all dried up. There was no water that could leak through those hands. Rina-san was threatening those guys as much as the man was. Neither was leading the other along. They were doing it together. That was it. Rina-san is a bad person. Oh no. It's like we're in this situation again where like this is horrifying and chills go up my spine, but I'm also kind of in this like little corner going, yes, let's do it. It's like, oh no. These games are they make me question if I'm a good person. My brain cells accepted the idea with applause. After all, I always had hated Rina. I just couldn't accept the feelings because my father liked her. But at that moment, I could finally accept it. She's a bad person, just like my mother. She's an existence that will ruin everything and destroy my father's happiness just by being with him. But I wonder if my father would understand that Rina-san's a bad person if I told him so. My father likes her so much he would jump over a cliff if she'd asked him to. He thinks everything she says is great, and he interprets everything about her in a positive way. He protects her and praises her without her asking him to. I'm not a kid anymore. I understand how a woman can tame a man. It's different from love. Love is about trying to build a relationship. Taming is just a way of satisfying the lust to dominate. She's just trying to make him into her slave. See, she's definitely like, she was like being like, oh, what's such and such? What does that mean? She knows. Women can deceive men, even my father. They can use dirty methods to ensnare men like they follow the manual. It's a weak point all men are born with. Even with a strong will, they can't resist it. You can. But I also can sympathize and say like there's a lot that don't. That's why we hate these women who exploit that weak point to deceive men. That's why I couldn't bring myself to like Rina-san. For the sake of argument, let's assume I acknowledge the unreciprocated love like that. But that would only be as long as it was love. If it wasn't love, if it was just a method to threaten and squeeze money out of him, I would never forgive her. I remembered that conversation at the coffee house. Rina-san said that my father was a big spender. In fact, I think he spends more money without hesitation than before he met Rina-san. I was happy that he started to regain interest in going into the world again, but now I don't know whether I should be happy or not. He controls the money of the Ryugu family overall, but since I do the grocery shopping, he often gives me his bank book so I can withdraw money. Because of that, I know where he keeps his bank book, his personal seal, and other important stuff. You know, to protect his assets, she could siphon a good portion of the money away so he just doesn't have access to it. I mean, that wouldn't truly work probably because she can't open an independent account at her age, but still. They're in one of his drawers, which he usually locks. I know where he hides the key, and I know the combination of the cash box inside the drawer. He might be coming back soon, so I felt a little nervous. But I had to make sure. I opened the cash box, which had some bank books, personal seals, stamps, and unused postcards. I removed everything from the cash box to get the bank books, then I found something new. On the bottom of the box was a bundle of 10,000 yen bills. The thickness wasn't something I could ignore. There was also a paper wrapper that looked like it had been bundled with the bills. The wrapper had a stamp that said it was a bundle of 1,000,000 yen. He usually kept some cash at home because it was troublesome to go to the bank every time he needed money. But it was usually around 100 to 200,000 yen at most. It is in yen. I was questioning earlier, but it is. He never kept such big amounts of money at home before because he knows it's unsafe. The extraordinary amount of 10,000 yen bills was abnormally intimidating. I tried to open the bank book, but my fingers got numb all of a sudden. As part of me was trying to deny the things I'd heard in the coffee house. It wasn't because I wanted to defend my father or even Rina-san. It was because I didn't want to believe my father was the husband in Hinamizawa the blackmailers were talking about. I opened the bank book. The last time I saw it was about 2 or 3 months ago, and it showed countless withdrawals since that day. You probably wouldn't normally understand what those numbers meant, but I felt in that moment as if 10 different digits were speaking to me. They were a series of cruel digits. It started with some understandable expenses I assumed represent dinners or something, but then the amount of money starts to become nice round numbers, like 5 or 10. I could tell by looking at the dates he withdrew the money that he wanted to have a certain amount of cash on hand when he went out with Rina-san. Among those expenses, a big number appeared all of a sudden. It was too much money to spend on a date, hundreds of thousands of yen. I looked at the date of the withdrawal and I traced it back in my memory. I remembered. Around that time, Rina-san was talking about moving into a new apartment. Oh gosh! It's just a phishing scam! I knew the market rate of the rental apartments in Okonomiya. You need to put down 2 safety deposits and 2 payments of key money in order to rent the apartment. That amount of withdrawal sounded reasonable now. He paid the whole down payment for her new apartment. And that, big numbers appeared one after another. I could tell they were congratulatory gifts for her new apartment or something. The numbers got bigger and bigger. It looked like at first he was withdrawing only the amounts of money needed, but then he started withdrawing big amounts all at once because he knew he was going to use it someday anyway. The change meant only one thing. He lost his sense of value of money. So dangerous. The balance kept going down. I started feeling anxious about what was going to happen if he continued spending money like that, but then I saw a deposit of a big amount of money into the account. Where did that money come from? There was only one thing it could think of. I opened the other bank book. It was easy, like a puzzle for kids. It was like playing with an easy jigsaw puzzle that comes with huge pieces you don't even have to put together to see the whole picture looks like. My father was using money from his time deposits. Oh my gosh! Oh, that's so insane. That's despicable. Oh, I'm so sad. That's such a huge problem. It's so oh, intervention. Rena, we gotta do something about this. In other words, the settlement my mother paid my father when she divorced him. To him, it's cursed money. I'd understand if he wanted to use it to get a new love, but that's just an excuse to use the money for his time deposits. Money is money. Even though it's his divorce alimony, it's still important money for our future. Even though it's cursed money to him, it doesn't mean he can waste it. Big expenses start appearing one after another. There are many expenses, upwards of 6 digits. For some reason, I couldn't immediately tell what they were buying, buying electric appliances and furniture. He must have been buying everything she asked him to. If, from the beginning, Rina-san was only seeking the check if he could end up being a big catch, she must have been trying to find out how much money she could squeeze out of him. And my father bought her anything she wanted, no matter how expensive it was, so she probably doesn't think of him as a perfect catch now. The numbers in the bank book told me so. The simple numbers and dates on the bank book had started talking to me. And the time he started withdrawing big amounts of money, Rina-san started coming to the house more often, and she also started spending the night. To Rina-san, my father was the first a guy who just spends big money. But around the time she landed her big catch, my father used to refer to her as my friend in Okonomiya at first, but he started referring to her as Rina-san around that time. This is partially his fault. But he was betrayed by his beloved wife, and he was feeling hurt and down for a long time. It's also partially my fault. That's why I didn't want to blame him. And he's not good looking either. There's no way he's immune to women. He must have not been able to resist an attractive lady who aggressively approached him when he was feeling down. God, such a trap. He's crazy about Rina-san. He can see nothing other than her. I can't blame him because Rina-san tried to be that way. I put the banknotes and other things back in the cash box. This cash box is like my father's heart. Rina-san is eating up the contents. What should I do? Think, Rena Ryugu. I should tell him about Rina-san's scheme? No, that probably wouldn't do anything. The whole point of taming an animal is that you won't run away from its owner even when the door is wide open. My father probably won't leave his cage even if I open the door. Should I confront Rina-san about her plot that he's in with her? The results would be the same. Rina-san would run behind his back. He'd probably try to protect her. If she pressed her breast against his back, he'd protect her no matter what. I couldn't make this problem between me and him. First of all, I was trying to get rid of Rina-san for his sake. If we got mad at each other, it'd only give the advantage to Rina-san. She's really thinking this through, though. It'd be like I was putting myself in her trap. Then that meant I couldn't make him do anything. If I couldn't make him break up with Rina-san, I'd have to talk to Rina-san directly. So instead of making my father fight, I'd have to fight in his place. But how? That guy, Kasai-san, who was with Shi-chan today, seemed to know the man Rina-san was with. I wonder if I can somehow meet him again. He looks scary, but I was introduced to him as a friend of Mi-chan. Mi-chan has a lot of power around here. There's no way he would treat me badly. I wonder if I could tell if he could tell Rina-san and the man going back to back off by my father. That helped me a lot. But I didn't know how I could meet him again. I could ask Mi-chan for help, but I didn't want her to know about my situation. This is a problem for the Ryugu family. This is nobody's business but mine. Yeah, this is a battle that I'd have to fight alone. I regretted my parents' divorce. I wept about the tragedy I could have prevented if I'd tried. I wasn't going to weep this time. I wasn't going to let the chance slip away. This time I would fight for my happiness. Get the bat! Okay. Oh yeah, as I said, there's like creepy sounds just going on. Oh baby, that's a spicy chapter. Properly estimate. Properly estimate? The husband in Hinamizawa accidentally uncovered a horrible truth. Yeah, oof, that's rough. Property estimate. Okay, so it's gonna be values. Dear Ritsuko Mamiya-sama, Executive Housing Corporation. Attached estimate. We thank you for your past visits and inquiries to our office. We've included the estimate for the property you inquired about. Basic information. Property name, Palace of Versailles, room 707. Property code, 14M1421. Property type, modern condominium. Layout, 2LDK. Address, Shishibon City, Koiwa-chu to Chom. Transportation, XX line. Goruga Station, 5 minutes on foot. Cost, 49,800,000 yen. Maintenance fee, 20,000 yen. Fetch me, that's a lot. Other, southeastern corner room, elevator floor. Condominium, fitness club membership included. Thank you for your interest in this property. The area around Goguda Station is a prime real estate zone for luxury condominiums. Along with future planned developments, the real estate estate values in and around the Goguda Station are expected to rise, and this property is not an exception. As a result, many prospective buyers are interested in this property. Hence, we'd like for you to understand that the selection process for these properties will be done via lottery. Also, we also offer celebrity membership preferential treatment. Of course they do, granting highly improved chances through additional lottery entries. If you have money and power, of course we can break the system for you. Please feel free to inquire with our agents for more details. Executive Housing Corporation. Celebrity Account Manager, Kawabata. Yeah, the whole point of the lottery is it's meant to make it like so everyone has an equal chance at the place, but then you can just buy extra tickets, meaning it's not actually equal at all. It's just the veneer of equality. That's gross. All right, well, that was something. Chapter 4, oh my gosh. Yeah, I quickly am finding I'm walking down the path of chapter 3 where suddenly it's like, is murder really that bad? It's like, that's a terrible question to be asking yourself, but we're at that stage. Fascinating. And I love and hate how all the other stories just mesh right together like that. They're just all smushing into each other. And it's like such a convoluted mess, but it also makes so much sense. Dang, that's crazy. That's a lot. I'm going to be thinking about this one probably for the rest of the week. That's going to be interesting. So yeah, very excited. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly enjoyed making it. I'm getting very tired though, so I'm going to get off and go and get some sleep because I got to work tomorrow. But it is what it is. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for your support. It's been really lovely seeing you guys in the comment section lately, especially after my break and coming back. It's really fun to hear those things. It's also kind of fun because a few of you, I guess probably because you got bored of like my break, have been going through some of my older catalog, and I've been getting some people leaving comments on some of my older videos, which is always really fun because frankly, I'm biased, but I think those playthroughs are still really good. So if you haven't had the chance to look at some of my older backlog stuff, please take a look at them. Especially some of my earlier stuff, while the editing's probably a lot rougher, I still feel like those stories are really good and it's worth seeing. I mean, heck, my Muvla playthrough is one that I started that one. It's like, what I think my third or fourth visual novel I picked up, period. And man, I rode that thing forever. Hopefully we actually get some more entries, please. Other than that, though, it's just really fun. So I hope you enjoy those series and give them a check. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being part of the channel. You're all amazing. I don't deserve you, but I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. I hope that you understand just how much it means to me that you spend your time here, and hopefully I can make it entertaining. So thank you so much, and until the next video you're watching me, I have to see me in next. I'll see you there.